You have been lied to your entire life about what intelligence actually looks like. Not by one person, not by your parents, not even by your teachers, by almost every system around you. School taught you that intelligent people always have the answers. Social media taught you that smart people always sound certain. Movies taught you that geniuses speak in perfect sentences and instantly solve impossible problems. And somewhere along the way, most people quietly absorbed the same belief. If you hesitate, if you admit uncertainty, if you change your mind, if you don't dominate every conversation, then maybe you aren't actually intelligent at all. But the smartest people rarely behave like that. The most intelligent person I ever met once said something I couldn't stop thinking about for weeks. He said, "The day I stopped pretending to know things I didn't, my life completely changed." At first that sounds simple, almost obvious, but think about how rare that actually is. Most people spend enormous amounts of energy trying to appear intelligent instead of becoming more intelligent. And genuinely smart people eventually realize there's a massive difference between the two. So today, here are 5 things truly intelligent people refuse to do. And if you really pay attention to these, you'll probably recognize that intelligence has a lot less to do with IQ and a lot more to do with ego. Number 1, they never fake knowledge to protect their image. This happens constantly in conversations. Someone brings up a topic people barely understand: economics, psychology, politics, philosophy, science, and instead of simply saying, "I don't know enough about that," people start performing. They use vague language, big words, half-formed opinions, confident tones, not because they understand the topic, because they're afraid of looking uninformed. Most people would rather sound intelligent than risk appearing ignorant for 10 seconds. But truly intelligent people don't operate that way. When they don't know something, they say it directly. "I haven't studied that enough, and don't actually know. I'd need to think about that more." And strangely, that honesty makes them sound even smarter, because real intelligence is secure enough to admit limits. Researchers call this intellectual humility, the ability to recognize the boundaries of your own knowledge without feeling threatened by it. And studies consistently show that intellectually humble people learn faster, make better decisions, and are more open to new information. Why? Because pretending to know blocks learning. The moment you fake certainty, curiosity dies. And intelligent people care more about getting closer to truth than protecting their ego. That's why some of the smartest people you'll ever meet speak carefully, because they understand how easy it is to be confidently wrong. Number 2, they don't argue to win. They argue to understand. Watch someone who always needs the final word. Every disagreement becomes a competition. Every conversation becomes a battlefield. Every correction feels personal. That's usually not confidence. It's insecurity wearing confidence as a costume. Because when someone cannot tolerate being wrong, it means their identity is attached to always appearing right. Intelligent people think differently. They understand that conversations are supposed to produce clarity, not dominance. If the goal of every disagreement is victory, nobody learns anything. That's why genuinely smart people ask questions more than they make declarations. They'll say things like, "Why do you think that? What led you to that conclusion? Maybe I'm missing something here." Not because they're weak, because they're curious, and curiosity is one of the clearest signs of intelligence. The smartest people in a room are often the least emotionally attached to defending themselves. They can change positions mid-conversation if new information appears. They can admit someone else made a better point. They can leave an argument without needing to crush the other person. Most people experience disagreement as a threat. Intelligent people experience it as information. And there's a huge difference between those two mindsets. Number 3, they never let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. This one changes lives when people finally understand it. Think about the angriest you've ever been, not mildly irritated, actually angry. That moment where your chest tightened, your thoughts sped up, and you wanted to send a message immediately. Or maybe think about heartbreak, the nights where sadness convinced you that your entire future was ruined. Or excitement, those moments where you felt so certain, so emotional, so energized that you almost made a massive decision on impulse. Now imagine if you had acted fully inside that emotion. The message you would regret, the relationship you would destroy, the decision you would reverse 6 months later. Intelligent people still feel those emotions intensely. They're not emotionless robots. In fact, many intelligent people feel emotions more deeply than average. The difference is this: they understand that emotions are information, not instructions. Anger tells you something matters. Fear tells you something feels uncertain. Sadness tells you something feels lost. Excitement tells you something feels meaningful. But emotions are terrible decision makers, and intelligent people learn to create space between feeling and action. When angry, they pause. When overwhelmed, they wait. When emotional, they delay major decisions. Neuroscientists call this emotional regulation, but honestly, a simpler word for it is wisdom. The ability to feel the storm without becoming the storm. Because one emotional moment can permanently alter years of your life. And intelligent people understand that temporary feelings should never have permanent authority. Number 4. They refuse to surround themselves only with people who agree with them. Agreement feels amazing. Validation feels safe, comfortable, addictive. Having a room full of people nodding at everything you say feels good for the ego. Until the day you're wrong about something important. And nobody around you notices because nobody around you challenges you. This is one of the most dangerous traps intelligent people actively avoid. They seek friction, not constant conflict, not negativity, but thoughtful resistance. People who ask difficult questions, people who push back respectfully, people who expose blind spots they can't see themselves. Because growth rarely happens inside comfort. Psychologist Carol Dweck's research on growth mindset showed something powerful. The people who improve the most are not the people who protect their intelligence. They're the people willing to test it. That means exposing your ideas to criticism, allowing disagreement, risking correction. Most people avoid this because disagreement bruises the ego. Intelligent people value truth more than emotional comfort, and that changes everything. If every person around you always agrees with you, your thinking eventually becomes fragile. You stop questioning yourself, stop evolving, stop sharpening your perspective. The smartest people intentionally keep people around who challenge them, not because it feels good, because it keeps them honest. Number 5, they never confuse being busy with being effective. This one might be the biggest illusion in modern life. People wear exhaustion like a status symbol now. Everyone's overwhelmed. Everyone's grinding. Everyone's busy. People brag about sleeping 4 hours, about answering emails at midnight, about never slowing down. But intelligent people eventually realize something uncomfortable. Busyness is not the same thing as progress. You can spend your entire life moving quickly in the wrong direction. And many people do. They fill every hour with activity because activity feels productive. But underneath it, they're often avoiding harder questions. Questions like, does this actually matter? Is this moving my life forward? Or am I just staying occupied because stopping would force me to think? Busyness is easy. Direction is difficult. Anyone can fill a calendar. Very few people know what truly deserves their time. That's why intelligent people become extremely selective with energy. They understand attention is one of the most valuable resources they possess. And once attention gets scattered across endless, meaningless obligations, deep thinking disappears. The management thinker Peter Drucker said, "Efficiency is doing things right. Effectiveness is doing the right things." Most people obsess over efficiency. Intelligent people obsess over alignment. Because working faster on the wrong life still leads to the wrong destination. And when you step back and look at all 5 of these together, you notice a pattern. Truly intelligent people don't organize their lives around looking smart. They organize their lives around staying honest. They don't fake knowledge because truth matters more than image. They don't argue to win because understanding matters more than ego. They don't let emotions control decisions because wisdom matters more than reaction. They don't isolate themselves inside agreement because growth matters more than comfort. And they don't worship busyness because meaning matters more than motion. None of this has anything to do with IQ scores. Some of the smartest people intellectually are complete disasters emotionally. And some of the wisest people you'll ever meet would never describe themselves as geniuses. Real intelligence is quieter than people think. It's flexibility, curiosity, self-awareness, emotional control, humility. And maybe the biggest sign of intelligence is this: the willingness to admit you still have things to learn. Because the moment someone believes they already understand everything is usually the exact moment they stop growing.